All right, this is my first Thanksgiving all pescatarian vegetarian meal. So as you can see right now, I have my macaroni still plain. I'm getting ready to grate up the cheeses. And I am boiling my sweet potatoes until they are tender for the sweet potato casserole I intend to make. I think it's gonna be yummy. I am also having stuffed green peppers. I cut them in half and stuffed them with boca or veggie crumbles, which is like a vegetarian substitution for ground beef, rice, Worcestershire sauce, or however you say that, tomatoes diced, and some corn, some jasmine or rather basmati rice, and different seasonings that I like. It's really mouth-watering, and I'm gonna top it off with some cheddar cheese, fresh. Now this is a seaside English cheddar. I just like to bring out robust flavors in my peppers. Just pile it on. I love cheese. My daughter loves cheese. My family loves cheese. I have finished my sweet potato pies from scratch. I have them cooling. That's brown sugar and crushed almonds and pecans. And I have 2 additional ones cooling on the windowsill. I'll pop those back in the oven before my guests arrive. I have my cornbread for my dressing. I generally try to make it from scratch, but I also like to make a pan of Jiffy Mix cornbread, as it is just, it adds a sweetness to it. So here is the Jiffy Mix, and here's the buttermilk cornbread. Both of them are really yummy, really tasty. So I'm gonna put those back in and let them cook for a little while longer. I have the temperature at 350 degrees. And I generally let it cook for about 35 minutes so that I'm able to get other things done. Mostly I'm chopping vegetables, so I like to let it slowly cook so that it's cooked thoroughly. And once I stick a fork in, my fork will come out completely clean. All right, guys. Back in we go. I have my green peppers, my celery, my onions, and my red peppers that I'm going to add to my cornbread once it's done cooking. I'll add a little bit of olive oil to the pan. And I will begin adding my vegetables. I'm going to go ahead and let this saute up so that the vegetables become nice and moist, because I don't know about anyone else, but I like my dressing to be kind of mushy. I don't want it to be too crunchy. So I like to soften the vegetables before I end up baking them, which is generally the last step to dressing, or as some of you may call it, stuffing. These are really good seasonings and flavors that are blended together, and well worth the wait. I have finished sauteing my vegetables. Over here, I began some mushroom gravy with flour, mushrooms, and I just let it season. I add a little bit of oil and a little bit of soy sauce for coloring. So, what I'm going to do at this point is add the vegetables, juices and all, straight from the pan. After I crumbled up my cornbread. I'm going to add some vegetable broth that I actually bought as well. Just for a little more flavor. I like to use the entire container, and I always get a backup just in case I've made a lot of dressing. But this year I didn't do too bad. Even though it may look like a lot, it's not really. The cornbread in the middle is still really dry, and you want all of your cornbread to be flavored and moist and just succulent. You want your guests to come back for more. Since I don't make turkey, I don't have the chicken drippings, so I have to add my own broth. And I like to make sure all of it is really moist, because once it gets in the oven and starts roasting, it's going to dry back up like cornbread, and I do not like dry cornbread. And I don't think my guests will like it either. It's a time and a place for dry cornbread. I say with really good chili. Otherwise, no thank you. Or good soup. Chili was the first to come to mind. Alright, now that that's mixed, I'm going to go ahead and add my gravy. Once you've gotten all the corners and the crevices, and you go over the center and make sure nothing looks completely dry and untouched. You are ready to toss it back into the oven. For the macaroni, I have since added egg, heavy cream, and some milk, and a little bit of oil, just so it doesn't stick as often. Now I am about to begin grating cheese, and after that I will top it off with a coat of cheese and pop it back into the oven. Now I've grated all my cheese. I've added some cream, I've added milk, and some egg. I won't give you all of my cheeses, but I do send a lot of it out. People want plates and people want the recipe.
have my hash brown casserole. It is made with hash browns, eggs, a certain cream mixture, and lots of cheese. And I also do different seasonings, some vegetables like red peppers and onions. And I'm going to go ahead and pop this in the oven and let it cook for about 25 minutes. Since the hash browns have already been thawing out, they are already soft and tender, and they will cook naturally pretty fast. As I said, this is a pescetarian vegetarian holiday for me, or Thanksgiving this year. So I am going to have some fish. My fish of choice is salmon. I have been letting it marinate for a while. I really like my salmon to have a mustard and herb taste to it. So I'm going to leave this piece whole. And I have a few additional chopped pieces. And the baby pieces that didn't fillet, wasn't able to fillet all the way off in one slice. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop that in the oven and let it bake for about 30 minutes or less. I don't want it to be too dry, and I like it to be a little juicy. So I didn't have the wherewithal to capture everything before my family came in, but as you can see, things went tastefully. There's my salmon that was marinated, and my macaroni has been ravaged. Over here are my shells and canned cranberry sauce. My sweet potato pies. Here is my lasagna. Really tasty, really delicious. I like to use a breaded bottom for my lasagna because it's just so delicious that way. I added spinach and ricotta cheese and different types of cheese, and instead of topping mine with cheese, I like to top mine with the tomato sauce. We also have really yummy sweet yellow corn. Can't beat that. My greens were a hit. Now, you may have seen earlier a can of spinach, but that was used in my lasagna. I generally like to make my greens really spicy, really hot and flavorful. I like them spicy. These are collards, they're good antioxidants, and kale as well. So I mix collard and kale greens. They're really delicious. Some of my faves. And my dressing and stuffed bell peppers. Both dishes I really enjoy, and I think my guests really loved. My family flew in, and I kind of lost track of everything and forgot to record before everybody dived in. I'm just keeping it real, keeping things 100. And so with the excitement of seeing everyone, I just simply forgot. This is real life. So this was my first pescetarian vegetarian holiday, and I think it went really well. All right, guys,
See you soon.